Hello, everybody. It's time for our game of the week, and I've chosen the DFB Pokal. And you might say, what on earth is that? Well, it's the equivalent, if you're English, of the FA Cup final, which is also played this weekend. But in Germany, the DFB Pokal final is between Bayern Munich and Eintracht Frankfurt. So, as you'd gather from those two sides, Bayern Munich are going to be overwhelming favourites to beat them in the final. But of course, one's got to remember that this is going to be a neutral venue. The same way as the FA Cup will be at Wembley, it's not going to be in Munich and it's not going to be in Frankfurt. It's actually in Berlin at the Olympic Stadium. Now, Frankfurt actually have a decent run of form in this particular competition. They got to the final last year and they were beaten by Borussia Dortmund by 2-1. And in fact, this weekend final between Bayern Munich and Eintracht Frankfurt is a repeat of the 2006 final. So both these sides met in Berlin at the Olympic Stadium in 2006, and on that occasion Bayern Munich won by just 1-0. It was scored by Pizarro. Remember him? I think it was a Peruvian forward, wasn't he? Pizarro. But in any event, by and by, we have seen Bayern Munich get stronger, and you could argue that Eintracht Frankfurt haven't got too much stronger. The key thing here, though, is the neutral venue. So what I did was I studied up the away form for both sides, because theoretically, they're both away. So if we have a look at Bayern Munich's away form in the Bundesliga this season, they've played 17 matches and they've scored 36 goals. They've won 13 of them, so they won't mind being in Berlin for the final. As far as Frankfurt's away form is concerned, it's not that bad either. They have won 6 away from home. They've played 17, but they've scored 19 goals out of the 17 matches on the road. So I do think that Eintracht Frankfurt will score in the final. Bayern Munich, as I mentioned, will be overwhelming favourites, but maybe we can find a little bit of value in going for, on the handicap, a bet on Eintracht Frankfurt not to get as smashed out of the park as everybody thinks is likely to happen. Just to remind you what happened in the semi-finals, because Bayern Munich actually got through by beating Bayer Leverkusen by 6-2, so that was a real romp in the park for them. But Eintracht Frankfurt actually beat Schalke by just 1-0. It is a cup final, though, and although I think Bayern Munich will win, I think that Eintracht Frankfurt are going to make it fairly competitive. So in terms of the value, if you are playing in the match, I would just lean towards Frankfurt maybe playing above expectations. The fact that it is a neutral venue and that it is a cup final. So I'm going to go for my game of the week score, the final, the DFB final in Germany. I'm going for Bayern Munich 2, Frankfurt 1, as they play it out, of course, in Berlin.